Guys, please subscribe and help us get to 50,000 subscribers. I'm FANS Wethu TV. Welcome to the studio. Thank you for watching this episode. Bafethu, you have seen the breaking news. The breaking news yesterday announced by Mamelodi Sundowns. Rhulani Mokwena has left Sundowns. We still can't believe it. I'm still shocked. So we have Bafethu. I saw some comments, but what is Lindo saying about this? But what is he saying about this? Yeah. So we've called Lindo to the studio, and he's here. You're gonna hear it from Lindo what he has to say about this news. My brother Fede. Fethu ngiyazi fethu too busy. Yazi ama pre-season not abantu abatholakala ba busy not abantu bashapa vacation. Fire. So thank you for making time ukuzwa the studio.
Ngiyabonga uThami, ngiyabonga. I'm kusekhaya la. So mani mongfonela in the morning. To be honest with you, I haven't said much about Mamelodi Sundowns. I thought I wasn't going to say much, but mangfonela I said to myself, this is home. I need to go and ngiyovela and just ensure that I serve as I always do.
Yeah. Brian, I'm still shocked with this news, Brian. Like, do you see this coming? I mean, it came out of nowhere. And funny enough, my news, a call from one of the guys that I work with, Like FANS Wethu, on the film side, I also work with him. Young phone saying, did you see this news? Rhulani is parting ways with Sundowns.
Yeah.
And check out Twitter, it's trending. But also, I believe, I thought, maybe it's just a rumor.
Yeah.
But not, it's official. But
to be honest with you, very painful. I feel sad for my Sundawana fan. But there's three ways to look at this thing when I yola. And the first one is you look at it from a technical perspective. Maybe let's start with the technical perspective. Coach Rhulani has done incredibly well for Mamelodi Sundowns. I think in general, he's an incredible coach, incredible human being. I think the first time I met him, I was 13, 14. Coach Triple S just I don't know lela kasi balbizi Mfula. I think Mfula just after Mfulo Park. So he was coaching Triple S lapayana. In that squad of players, begui abo Tevez. I think people like Kaspazoba abo Tevez, abo Montari. I used to always run a training ground. Nabo no Peter. Peter was our captain at the time, center back. No Rafael ran all the times as coach as Amanda 15. So that's the first time I met him. Incredible coach. Has done everything in this country, coached almost all the levels, SAP, APC, you can name it. Went to Platinum Stars under 19. I think yesterday in Mamele in his interview, when he said there's nothing that he hasn't done. He was the head of development at some point, coached Amanda 15, arrived there as an under 15 coach, coached Amanda 19, Woni came Mutsipe, been an assistant coach. So my feelings are he's done a lot for Ikas, more especially. I think one of the reasons why I'm not sitting here, y'all, as a Rhulani fanboy. And I just want to be clear because there's a lot of controversial things that were said that Coach Rhulani this, that. I don't want to sit here and act as if I'm a fanboy. I love the coach. He's a role model of mine because I'm a coach myself as a young coach. Upumekasi, he has changed the mentality of a lot of people. You look at, he's inspired. I'm a sports photographers. He's inspired soccer players. He's inspired young coaches. There's so many people in this country that are youth development coaches that are coaching Guba GDL. Those coaches were inspired by Coach Rhulani. Remember, he always used to say, I've got three disadvantages. I'm black, I'm young, and I never played professional football. And the playing part is the one that I feel seems like it's important, y'all. Because those are the huge disadvantages. And some of us have never played professional football. That's I throw in the profession. That's what they say when I engage I'm a professional player. They say, Lindo, I'm throw in go professional level, but you guys have an opinion. But I guess that football is a game of opinion. But you look at Coach Rhulani and what he's done for Ikas, what he's done for a black child in this country. He's given us unbelievable belief. He's given us the right confidence. We went to school. And not just in football, I think in any other field, to see a young man in this country following his dreams and being so good as well. Coach Peter said one thing that's very powerful, that as a black young coach in this country, you really have to be good and you really have to convince. Ne? So for me, in my opinion, from a human being, incredible human being, I think he's devoted his life to football. I think he doesn't have other hobbies other than football. Me, myself, I'm that kind of a coach myself. There's nothing that I do in my life important other than football. So looking from that, from a technical perspective, as a young coach, as a young sportsman, as a young person who wants to have a profession in this country, I look at him and I say, kudos to you, my brother. Kudos to you, Mokwena. We are sitting here today because we are inspired by you. I'm a young man, Ophume Soweto, and I want you to know that everyone in this country is inspired by that guy. He's inspired, incredible human being, even as a person, very welcoming as well. Doesn't mind sharing knowledge with the coaches. Grassroots level is one of the coaches that I know that would coach at the senior level, Yola, and comes back as a coach at Black Poison. So yeah, I'm going back to Black Poison. I'm hoping that those boys by Black Poison, they will grasp all the knowledge and all the information that they will get. Yeah.
Sure. My brother, you've said a lot. You spoke about where he comes from, and I can see you good. He's someone who's really had a huge impact. I mean, Rhulani has done a lot. I mean, age 37, to have done so much. I mean, to have coached one of the biggest teams in the country, that is an achievement, my brother.
Yeah. So even if you can look, some can say you look at it from a period of 7 years.
Yeah.
He's done incredibly well, even as an assistant coach, as a co-coach. I think they won the treble with Umango. He signed a 4-year contract.
Yeah.
Only served 12 months of his contract. You look at the record that he has. I don't think a South African coach will ever have that record. I think records are there to be broken.
Sure.
But you look at the record, it says 91 games, 60 wins. 60 wins. 60 wins in 90.
Oh.
You look at that stat and you compare it with the best coaches in the continent. You compare it with the best coaches that are coaching in Asia, in the Gulf, in Europe as well. Incredible stat. I think it's 9 losses, 11 draws. To
lose one game the entire season.
I think last season, so there's another person that said, overthinking show yesterday, he said, so if Coach Rhulani, if the next coach comes in and loses 2 games and fails to win the MTN 8, do we consider that failure as well? So from a technical perspective, I'd like to say he's done incredibly well for the players in Mamelodi Sundowns. I think those players, he had an incredible relationship with those players. He had an incredible relationship with his technical team. Some might have argued this, but I understand that other people are not technical people. And when you are a technical person, you understand that relationships are important as well. We are not in football just for records and to win trophies and stuff. Those things, anyway, they stay with the club anyway.
Yeah.
Coaches are there to change lives and to have an impact on other people. I understand. Anyway, this profession here, coaching, is a profession of getting the best out of other people anyway. So for me, he got the best out of players like Abumdao. I made a mistake the last time. I said Umvala must go to Europe, and these people had me. I said I'm not going to talk about it, but he's improved players like Abu Sela. He's improved Umshish. I felt that his game went on to the next level when Coach Rhulani started taking over. Umshish has always been great, but I feel that his game went on to the next level. You look at a player like Opri, very coachable. Those players are also coachable. Incredible human beings are Mamelodi Sundowns players as well, to give Rhulani the respect and the ideas for them to come into life. Incredible from those players. You look at players like Abo Tebs, they were box-to-box midfielders, but you look at them now, he's a different kind of player even when you watch him now. You look at players like Abo Shalulile, the coachable players, when he was still at the Highlands, people used to call him names, but Mamelodi Sundowns, he became a goal machine. There's so many players that I can count, so many players. I'm not saying those players were not good players, they were great players, but I'm saying he took them into the next level. You look at the style of play. We can't sit here, Yola, and say that guy never dominated South African football.
I did.
Absolute dominance.
He did.
Absolute dominance. So we are not going to sit here and act as a football. We are here to be factual as well, to say, show me another coach that can do what he's done. Dominated in terms of position stats, dominated in terms of less goals conceded. When we started the season last year, Yola, he said to the people, one of the things that I'm fighting for Mamelodi Sundowns is to give the opponent less chances. We considered the less goals, we scored more goals, more clean sheets, more box entries, more passes. You can count all these stats that he broke in terms of from a technical perspective. And then the second point, when that we probably can talk about, which is also another thing, I said you can look at this in three ways. From
Yeah.
a technical perspective, I think maybe we've said enough from a technical
Technical
perspective.
is improved. He did a lot.
It did a lot. Incredible.
Yeah,
One
that
of the
aspect,
best.
he killed it.
Killed it. One of the best coaches to ever be produced.
Yeah.
A gas. You understand? One of the best coaches to be produced in South Africa as well. He will do well. He'll never strike. He'll do well. No one is worried about Coach Rhulani. Trust me. No one is really. I just feel that I'll move on to the third aspect where I feel that the reason why there's pain is because of we had a very special relationship with the fans, right?
Okay.
And what is done and what is done for the club and who he is as a person. And then the second point, Yola, is the club's perspective. And I also want to say this. I understand where the club is coming from because I sit here as one of the voices of the club. In Mamelodi Sundowns, I understand where the executives, the board are coming from. And I'm going to mention this because I also want to speak to the fans and say, which is my last point, to say, we need to change how we think about the club and how we view the model of the club. Because my feelings are the club has changed its model. When they gave Coach Rhulani the 4-year contract, I felt that that's when they started changing the model. The objectives that he knows himself, that this is how big clubs, he knows himself. That in big clubs, you stay because you win. You stay because you win big trophies. And the model of the club, I feel that Mamelodi Sundowns has adopted a model, say North Africa. They've adopted a model, say Europe.
Yeah.
Where if the coach doesn't get the big trophies, he's released. If you are not going to win the big trophies, if you are not going to be in big finals, you're going to have to be released because you have not met your objectives. Mamelodi Sundowns has shift. They've won the league 6 times. I don't think winning the league is special anymore. We reached 2 finals, cup competitions. I think Coach Peter has had his say what his thoughts are about not winning the league and winning a cup competition. So you guys you'll probably get what I'm trying to say in terms of the results that the Orlando Pirates has had in the recent thing, that winning the league is probably the most important thing. That's what the management and the board of Mamelodi Sundowns think. Winning the CAF Champions League is utmost of importance. That means they want it now. The model of the club has shifted. So the model of the club says probably if you don't get the big trophies, you have to go.
What's the big trophy?
The Champions League. The club is probably shifting into a space where they want to probably get out of the group stages of the Club World Cup, maybe come back with a bronze. The board probably they felt that the coach was not going to bring the trophy home, the big trophy home, which is the CAF Champions League. I don't want to engage in Ngazazi because remember, when the club releases a statement, they communicate with us. They communicate with the journalists, they communicate with technical people, and they communicate with the fans. The statement of the club says the coach was released because he didn't meet his mandate or the objectives of the club. And probably the objectives of the club, based on the contract that he signed, were that you need to deliver the CAF Champions League. Right? This has nothing to do with attitude, and all coaches have arrogance. All big coaches have arrogance. You look at the history of Jose Mourinho. You look at the history of Thomas Tuchel. You look at the history. I can count so many coaches. You look. Those coaches have a certain level of arrogance. Anyway.
So it doesn't have also to do with, because I saw like I'm a tweet, like the sporting director. Fleming Berguti, Ngati, they were not getting along or something like that. So you don't think it has to do with that as well?
The reason why the chairman hired Flemingberg was for Flemingberg to do his job. That's the first thing. I'm not here to like I said, I spoke about Coach Rhulani, but I'm going to speak about the club, and Flemingberg is an employee of the club. And I'm not here also to defend Flemingberg. I'm just saying that Uklopi hired him for him to do his job. And part of doing his job is to ensure that he's responsible for the technical team and is responsible for the players in and out, the players that are coming in and the players that must go. Probably there was a dispute there because they gave the coach a season when he signed his contract. They probably said the contract deliver the Champions League. He went out against Wydad in the semi-final, and probably the dispute was you only delivered the league this season. You are not going to get, you can't have 100% control over transfers. I think that's what might have transpired. And Flemingberg probably said to him, you might not get the players that you want because the players that you want have not delivered or reaching expectations lower. So the club will probably move into this direction. Yes, you are still part of the club, but the club will take this direction. The coach doesn't like playing with, but the club signed a lot of wingers. I think they signed about 4 wingers for him. I think with the recent departure Bozungu and all those players, and then they're trying to bring on Otladisa is another example of where the club, because with our sporting directors, more especially in Europe as well, they're also responsible with the methodology, the game model, and and because even with the coaches that they bring in, they have to fit into that methodology, that game model, and that style of play. So probably there's a certain direction that the club wants to take in terms of style of play, in terms of formation, 4-3-3, have playing with wingers. You never know. But the club is moving into that direction, into that model, that it's a model of excellence. I'm not saying the model that we were using then is not, but I feel that Klopp as a young chairman, and this is probably his identity as well, to say, you look at the sponsors that are coming into the club, you look at the model of the club, the methodologies, the systems within the club. I think he wants to have his own identity away from the president of the club. So maybe this model is a new model. And then lastly, Miola, what I want to speak to is a Masanda Wana fan. I want a Masanda Wana fan to understand that if the club is making this decision, that means the club has changed their model of work, their systems of work, that we as fans as well have to change. It's sad to see Coach Rhulani leave. Trust me, I'm probably the most hurting person right now who's sitting here. But I also understand the direction that the club wants to take. As a Mamelodi Sundowns fan as well, sitting here, I want the fans to understand that this is the direction that the club is taking. The club has decided to shift into that model of adopting what Al Ahly is doing, what Real Madrid is doing, all these big clubs, that if you don't bring the big trophies, there's a possibility that the coach might go. The secret of coaching, Coach Rhulani knows that the secret of coaching is not to be attached to a football team. The secret of being a football player as well is not to be attached to a player. Some who are part of football, they know that at some point you're going to have to move. It's part of the game. He knows himself. It's part of the game. It's a tough decision. It's tough to take. But I was released myself from a job after 10 games with Tigers when I was an APC head coach. So I know how it feels. I know about the influence of other people that are within the club and the structure. It's difficult to be a coach. Like I said, you must really convince. So that's why I'm saying he's done an incredible job. But I just want the Masanda Wana fans to understand that this is with the model of the club. The club is probably, maybe they will communicate better with us. I might be wrong here. This is just my opinions. That the club, this is the direction. I want the fans to understand that this is the direction that we've taken as a club, that we are chasing the big trophies. We want to do well in the FIFA Club World Cup. We want to win the Champions League as soon as we can. And we obviously want to dominate in the league, because in the league, for you to be in the Champions League, you must win the league.
Nyatol, you've said, quite a lot, and you've really, summarized the guard or explained. So pretty much, you've mentioned 2 points. Technical point of view, he's done a great job. Dominated in terms of Udlala. And then the second point was, what's the objectives of the club? The objective is either you win CAF or you're out. And from a human point of view, Rhulani, I mean, he's a likable guy. He's a likable coach, young, And you saw when he was there at Sundowns, there's no coach that had banter like Rhulani. Mainly because also, I mean, the banter made from fans, he was the coach that was always trending on social media because of his banter. So that's why I'm showing it. He's a likable guy. He's a likable, gent from Ekasi, inspiring. And then, but Jongoba Ushuguti, big teams are ruthless. And I mean, now as a business, these are people, they worked with him. Now the Mamtanda, the Sundowns, the chairman, loved Rhulani. But Jongoba Ushuguti, more than business, you have to remove our feelings aside, and you have to make tough decisions. And like you said, the new coach that comes in, your mandate, win the Champions League. If you don't win, you are out. New coach comes in. Because sometimes the way it is, Jongoba Usho, if they can get any other coach, even Asemzansi, the league is a guarantee. I may win. Because of the players but Jongoba Ushuguti, the mandate, Champions League. So to summarize it, before Sivala, you can easily say, the reason why he was fired was Champions League. That's it.
He said it himself, but I guess probably that was one of the big reasons, one of the big reasons why he was, because they probably thought. But my feelings are the board and the club, because for them to even have a disagreement, I think you might probably find that they also believe that he might not bring it home as well. And if he's honest enough, we must also speak about his failures as much as we do speak about the good things that he's done. Incredible person, incredible human being, incredible coach. But my thing is, just to the last thing I just wanted to say to Masanda Wanafen is also Yola. We need to understand that we might not have a coach also like Coach Peter Msimani, Mamelodi Sundowns, that's going to stay for 8 years. I think that model is gone. That's what I'm talking about. We are adopting a model where we might have a coach for 2 years, 3 years, 1 year. And that model might bring a lot of success, might bring a lot of trophies. But yeah, is it a model that we will agree with as fans? I think we're going to have to buy in, more especially us as Mamelodi Sundowns fans. We're going to have to quickly buy into the model, because I don't see any coach staying for 4 years, because the demands of the club are so high, you know. But that's the club I want to support personally. I mean, given an option of which kind of club do you want to support, I want to support a club that has that kind of objectives, a club that is that ruthless. It's football. I think such things are new in South African football, but these things are very common in North Africa, in Europe. They're very common. It's just that this model, I hope more clubs will start adopting, more especially the big clubs in this country, where I don't want to be controversial, where they can't make a documentary for winning the Nedbank Cup. I think this is living proof. This is living proof. You know, these people, I don't want these people to have me.
It's a thing big teams, Brian. I mean, look at the Bayern, Tuchel, Brian. Once there was a time where he almost left because he didn't deliver Champions League. And then the president decided to keep him for an extra year. And then he delivered the Champions League. Guardiola now knows, if City doesn't deliver, what he delivered last season, it treble. This season, not deliver league. So they can understand, okay, yes, you can have a bet, but if now Coach Rhulani had won the Champions League last season, then if I can win this season.
PSG operates like that.
So
you win the French league, you don't win the Champions League. It's the model of the club, and we also need to understand how clubs work. The models and the systems and how they work is totally different. And we can't discourage having sporting directors in this country, because if we're going to discourage Msebenzi Fleming, then we can't grow our football as a country. For us to, we need a land in this country to be brought through. We need a Ribeiro, so that they can increase the level and the quality of our players as well, and the quality of the league. So we can't discourage the level, because about screamer as well. You look at the squad that is assembled, where you think to yourself, incredible. You know, so there's some sporting directors that have done well, but I guess something that maybe is a personality clash, which might have been, but I don't want to dwell on that. Me personally, I think Coach Rhulani as a person and as a coach has done incredibly well. I also understand the club's point, and I also want the fans as one of the voices to make them understand about that model that I was talking about.
Before we close, you mentioned Otladiso. Why not Otladiso?
Not to Otladisa, man. Who's this guy that we just no, not Otladisa. There's this guy, this boy that we just brought from Europe now. It's not Otladisa. These people, I think they will correct us in my comment section. But there's this boy that in Europe, I think he's 24. He's coming from a Swedish league, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know whether he's confirmed, but I think we are looking. He's a winger. He's a national team player as well.
Nice. Brian, before we close, any last words to Coach Rhulani? Because I'm sure, definitely, there's also a check on a video. When I watch this video, you know, players as well. So
I never got the opportunity to meet him, because I lost my father at the end of the season. I'm still coach. I'm still hoping to meet you. But to be honest with you, like the only thing that I have to say to him is keep your head up. You've done incredibly well for young people in this country, in all races, not just black. You've done incredibly well. You've changed how the mentality of a black child. You've changed the mentality. We dream a little bit bigger now. You've showed us, it's living proof. You've coached two of the biggest teams in this country at age 37. You've opened so many doors for so many people about Spuda, conditioning coaches. You've exposed what analytic work can do, what video analysis is in this country. So when I'm a professional buyer shine. To be honest with you, he's done a lot for South African football. He's a huge servant. He's a big servant for South African football. A huge asset for local coaches as well. A huge asset for development coaches, Kasi coaches. Incredible human being. A person that has devoted his life to football. You're a huge role model for myself personally. You are loved by a Sundowns fan. Please take nothing away. People that don't know this, he's loved by a Sundowns fan. You are loved by a Mamelodi Sundowns fan. I wish you all the best, my brother, and all the best for the future.
Thank you so much. Before we close it, Coach Rhulani, from FANS Wethu TV, this is our message to you. You are a hero, my brother. You are not a failure. And banter aside, I know football fans, they love to tease, or it's part of football. But you are a hero, my brother. I mean, coming from Ekasi to achieve the things you've achieved at age 37, to coach a big team, to win the league, you are inspiration. I mean, there's a lot of young guys that are looking up to you at the things you have done, and from here you're gonna go up. This thing that has happened is gonna lead you to more bigger opportunities. Like the Bible says, God will never leave you nor forsake you. So God is with you, and I believe this is gonna lead you to more opportunities. More doors are gonna open for you. But yeah, you are a great person, and you are inspiration, my brother. So big ups to you, big ups to you, big ups to you, and we can't wait to see you coaching another team again. We can't wait to see you standing there on the touchline. Yeah, thank you so much bafethu. Sayavala from me, your boy Sipiwe, yolambathi ntwana sekasi bafethu thathu ngibeke uphinde uncede. FANS Wethu TV yizo bafethu.
Thank you.
Yeah.